Alright, so here's another episode of finding things wrong with your RV. I noticed on our last trip out that we were leaking some water, and so I decided to dig into it, and I'll show you what I found. The leak was coming from, once I found it out, the leak was coming from the freshwater tank fill valve at the tank. So I'm going to try to show you where it came from. Here's how I found the problem. I filled up the tank like on a Thursday night, getting ready to go for a weekend trip. Friday morning, there's still water on the ground underneath the trailer. So I got on my roller cart that I used to roll around underneath the trailer and underneath the vehicle. And I could feel the bottom of the tank was squishy. That's kind of unusual. And the water was like seeping or dripping out of where the gas line pipe meets the plastic membrane. You know, they kind of wrap around it and then they spray foam into there to seal it up. So water was coming out of there. I knew that water was accumulating somewhere in the tank. I got my scope out. I shoved it up inside there. It matches up with my phone so I can see video and take pictures of it, you know, while I'm doing this. And that's the picture of the tank. So now I knew where the fittings were. And that was a huge help. So at this point, I knew where to make my cuts so I could cut flaps underneath the tank in that plastic membrane to get access to the fittings. So here's the underneath. So here's where the lowest point was on the undercarriage with this plastic material. So with some guesswork and a little scope I had, I cut two flaps out. Sure enough, there's the leak. It's coming out of the threads going into the tank. Now if you look closely, you're going to see the compound is like broken or dried or something, and it's letting all the water get out. And so there's our problem. So I got in there, unhooked all the hoses, took out the fitting. There it is. So I cleaned it off, got it ready to go, put it back in. We'll see if we can see under there. That's the fitting. And of course, there's the hose that I've got to fix to it. There's water in it now. I filled it up yesterday, and that's where it leaked. So I've actually got this leak. Let's see if I can get here. This leak was fixed by putting pipe thread on it and then screwing it back in tight, and so it's good. It started leaking from here. And that's because I thought it was a great idea to clean that up. Well, it turns out I needed that stuff, so I got a hold of some more of the pasty stuff. And then this white looking material. So anyway, I thought I'd show you this before I go and fix it. The product's called Sika Flex, and I'll put a link down in the description below because that'll be helpful. We have an RV dealer in my town, Miller's Trailer, and I want to thank them for giving me some of that. I didn't have to buy a whole tube. They got a rubber glove and filled one of the fingers with the material, so I guess you could say they gave me the finger. And then I went back and I put everything back together. I'm going to put that all around here, the fitting, and then shove the pipe back on and lock her up. And then fill the water back up to full. The water level's just below the fitting right here, so it's not leaking out at the moment, but there is a lot of water in here. So that's what I know. So I found that I had to trim down the filler hose, the one that goes from the side of the trailer into the tank inlet. It had some sort of a nick in there and it was leaking from it. But I got that resolved, gooped it up, and locked it back in there. So there we go. We got the sealant, non-toxic sealant, the pipe clamp, and we'll see what happens. I'm going to fill it up to see if we get a leak. Before heading off to work this morning, I'm going to fill up the tank and make sure there are no leaks for this afternoon. And then I can go about the business of sealing up the undercarriage of the RV. Yeah, before I forget, what was neat about this find is that when we go to upgrade, here's where the wires are. Here's where the wire is for the tank level sensors. They're right here. How sweet is that? That's going to be good for the next upgrade. Anyway, really got lucky with this cutting the hole in this material. I'll seal this up later on, make it good to go. That didn't fix it. I thought it would fix it. I was really hoping it would fix it, but it still had a leak. After all that, and I have no footage from it because it was the end of the day. We were leaving on the trip. I had to get it done. What the problem was pipe thread. You cannot use pipe thread on that fitting. So I had to take it all apart, clean the goop off. I had to clean the Sika Flex off all the parts, undo everything, and then put Sika Flex back on the threads of the fitting, the 90-degree elbow, put it back on there. So that's back in. Sika Flex up the other end, put the hose back in. I didn't have to trim it again because it was already ready to go. Filled it back up, and this time it was good. The leak only happens when you fill the tank full. So the only reason I knew that was a problem was that I filled up a day early and let it sit. I fixed it, put it all back together. Works great. Hasn't had any problems since. I sealed the bottom of it back up with Gorilla Tape. You'll see some pictures here. And it's holding great. I haven't put a Turnabond or anything like that on it yet. Primarily, I didn't want to make it so permanent that I couldn't get back into it again, but it's holding really well, and I'll assess it before winter starts. So if you like this video, it helped you to solve a problem in one of your water tanks, or gave you some ideas, a way to think about solving a problem in your RV, that's what I was hoping for. If you're new to the channel and you haven't subscribed, boy, smash that subscribe button down below. That really helps me out. It supports the channel. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. And watching a water tank fill is just like watching the grass grow, maybe a little faster. All right, water's starting to come out of the tank and onto the ground, which means it's full.